It actually wasn't as easy for me to answer as I thought it would be because there are a lot of things that you can and should do that'll get you 75 to 80% of the way there, but that's not really how I'm built. I only like winning. And so I really wanted to actually think about what would it take for me to basically foolproof the process so that I felt like my chances were absolutely the highest that they possibly could be.
Thanks for tuning in to Consulting Unpacked, a strategy simplified series where we strip away the hype and give you the real truth behind consulting, from recruiting to the work to how to build a career that actually makes sense for you. In this episode, Jenny Ray shares the exact step-by-step plan that she'd use to break into consulting if she had to start over today, including what to focus on first, what to stop wasting time on, and how to build confidence fast. Subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series. And now let's get into it and unpack consulting.
I was asked recently what I would do if I had to start over today to break into consulting. And I thought it was a good enough question that I thought I would love to make an episode answering it. It actually wasn't as easy for me to answer as I thought it would be because there are a lot of things that you can and should do that'll get you 75 to 80% of the way there, but that's not really how I'm built. I only like winning. And so I really wanted to actually think about what would it take for me to basically foolproof the process so that I felt like my chances were absolutely the highest that they possibly could be. So I came up with a couple of different phases of the process that I would start knowing what I know today, but not actually having the kind of baseline of relationships and context and work experience that I have today. So that's the premise, right? Wipe my entire resume pretty clean, send me back to undergrad thinking about this time. I obviously both could have gone through this process in undergrad or post-MBA, but I did it post-undergrad. So I'm going to take you back to that time and I'm going to walk you through exactly what I was thinking through today. So let's dive into what I would do today if I was starting over again, thinking about breaking into consulting. First of all, I would get smart enough about the firms, but I would shorten my timeline. When I was looking at consulting, really there were only a couple of big names in town. It was a few of the big four, and then it was the top three, McKinsey, Bain, and BCG. And that made it pretty easy for me. I don't think that's true anymore. And so now knowing what I know, I wouldn't necessarily know which firms would be the most interested in me, but I could definitely develop a perspective pretty quickly about which firms I would be the most interested in. I also would have a pretty strong opinion about a few regions that I wanted to work in. One that might be a primary, like I'd love to work in Chicago, or I'd love to work in DC, or I'd love to work in Atlanta. And here's why. And then I would work on having backups as well, because it would widen my field of people that I could reach out to and touch points that I could have with the firm, as well as opportunities when I discovered inside a firm, hey, that office actually focuses on a sector that I'm really interested in. Therefore, I can move it up to the top of my list. If you're too narrow, too early in the process, then you don't actually have enough flexibility. But also, if you're not narrow at all, if you're not smart at all, you spend your time wasted with people when you should actually be spending that time talking about tactically how to break in and exactly what you need to do when, and also making sure that they're going to advocate for you. So you can waste a lot of time in this process, and you can also waste a lot of time later if you don't do enough of the Get Smart process. So I would work on that. I would develop a list of a couple of firms, a few regions, and then I would get to work not on what you might think. I wouldn't go straight to networking. The second thing that I'd work on would actually be skill building for myself. Now, when I went through the process, I spent about 60% of my effort on my resume and functionally changed it very, very little. And I spent about 40% of my time on case. And as you may have heard, I was told by a friend of mine at McKinsey that I was the worst case partner that she had ever had. She thought I would absolutely just die inside the interview. And so I think that it's important for you to understand that that underemphasis on case for me left me with a huge risk factor. Now, thankfully, she told me some of what to do, which I'll share with you just now. But what I really should have done is spend about 10% of my time on my resume, not focus on the resume drop, because I was going through the back door, which is what I'm going to tell you how to do in just a minute with networking. What I was going to do was focus on the resume, overdo it, redo it, think about it all the time for the sake of the resume drop. Totally wrong. I was getting the interview. I was going to have a pretty sure shot at that. What I really needed to do was focus on the stories that I would tell inside my interview so that I had great connection with my interviewers and a ton of confidence with what I brought to the table. So I would have started from the interview, worked backward to the resume, and spent about 10% of my early prep time on the resume process. I would have done it. I would have had somebody look over it, but I definitely would not have stalled at the resume process. I also would have immediately started to case. I didn't because I didn't like the feeling of being uncomfortable. And I thought just by knowledge gathering, I could get all the way that I needed to go. So I thought maybe watching a ton of videos and reading books and getting smart about cases was all I needed to do to get smart on cases. Now I would start casing a lot earlier and I would test myself. I actually think I would have been pretty good at casing earlier on in the process. Not good enough, but pretty good to the point where I could have focused a lot of my case practice time on what I actually needed to work on, which was the demonstration of business acumen, the applied analytics, not doing the numbers, but figuring out what they meant, and other pieces of the case that ultimately helped me unlock offers and become the top recruit for Bain in my year. Look, you don't get there by actually just doing the basics or having robotic frameworks. So you have to take the early pass at getting what you're good at and what you're bad at clearly defined. And then you have to quickly go and figure out what it is that you need to do to get better at the things that you're not up to scratch on. And I really figured out how to do that by working with somebody who was already in the firm right away in the process. But my right away was 2 weeks beforehand. I should have given myself 2 months or more.
If you run a small or medium-sized business, you know how fast cyber risks are evolving. That's why I use Nord products myself. And for businesses, there's Nord Stellar. It's a threat exposure management platform that helps you spot cyber threats before they become full-blown incidents. Nord Stellar combines data breach and dark web monitoring, attack surface management, and cyber squatting protection, all in one platform. It gives you real-time visibility into leaked credentials, exposed assets, and impersonation attempts so you can act before attackers do. Think of it as seeing what hackers see and fixing it first. Right now, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on Nord Stellar with code SIMPLIFIED-10. Visit nordstellar.com/simplified to get started today.
And then the third piece of the process, so going just to recap, the first step would be getting smart enough about the industry and developing a short list of firms and practice areas and spaces that I wanted to work in, geographic spaces. The second would be to spend about 10% working on my resume from the interview backward and the other part of the interview from the case backward into the case mechanics. The third thing that I would have done is work on my peer and networking focus. So working on socializing the skills that I developed pretty early on. Now that I had a thesis on the following 3 things. Number 1, where I would like to go and why. Number 2, why I would be a great fit. And number 3, that I think I would resonate really well inside the interview. I would have been ready to network. And I would have had at that point the X factor to walk into my networking conversations instead of saying, hey, I'm thinking consulting might be a thing. I'm not sure, super casual, very, very low key, but I would have gone in and said, look, here is why I think it might be the right thing. Here's why I think it might be the wrong thing. Let's have a really proactive conversation about whether you think I would be a good fit, and if so, what I need to do. Better strategy, clear resonating message, and I think I would have gotten even more offers to jump into the interview pools at some of these firms that I just ended up not having either anybody or not having anybody to advocate for me. So my networking would have been more proactive and I would have positioned myself in a much, much better way. And then as well, I would have spent a lot of time doing cases with other people because in this time, if I had a foundation and a pretty good sense of what I wasn't good at, what I needed were reps. And so I would have spent that time focused on casing with other partners. And if I didn't have to do it under time pressure, I would have had the opportunity to do that with a lot of different people in a lot of different places to gather the case experience to really make me a better business insight driver, not just someone who would be good at case interviews. Just let me add one final thing. I think if I had to do it all over again, I would do exactly what I did do. So none of that I just described to you is what I did through the process, which meant not that I didn't get in, but that it was just a lot harder for me than I needed it to be. What I would have done exactly the same, the only thing I would have done exactly the same is have a ton of fun. I loved meeting with people. I thought cases were fascinating, and I dove in with an enthusiasm to actually solve the problem and to tie it back to real world issues. I loved thinking about and talking about my stories, and I was really proud of what I had done, which honestly wasn't very much at the time. But ultimately, I had so much fun that I think that fun can be contagious in a world of people who have spent time on AI, robotically thinking about how to answer questions, copying frameworks, blindly walking through a case to the point where you can tell that they're not actually really interested. And I was able to handle what I think are the most important parts of every interview: curveball fit questions and curveball case questions. And the only way you get there is having enough baseline practice that you're good at the basics and enough fun that you can attack those questions with all of your remaining energy. I think that this is the formula, the secret. If I were going to have to break in today, I hope that you steal it and borrow it and copy it and do it yourself. And when you break in, please write me and tell me, I got an offer at McKinsey. I got an offer at Bain. I'm going to BCG London, and here's what I did. If you do something that's different than this, I'm also super happy to hear and talk about it. And of course, there are levels down from each one of the pieces of what I talked about today. But ultimately, I don't just want people to try and get 80% of the way there. That's no fun, right? The ultimate goal is that you get exactly what you want out of this process. And the harder you go after it, the more likely it is that it will work out for you. We're cheering you on. We love to hear from you. If you haven't already subscribed, please stick around. And I'm looking forward to sharing more with you as we get these great questions in from our broad audience.